Hello everybody, it's Chris aka Star Raptor here at Comic-Con in San Diego. I'm at the Star Wars Lucasfilm Pavillion. Behind me you see a whole bunch of props from the Acolyte. A lot of cool stuff, but they also have a bunch of booths for the different exclusive merchandise like Geeki Tikis and like Star Wars Unlimited and the Lucasfilm Disney books. All that stuff is right here in one location, so it's really cool. So yeah, I've heard about this for years. I think this whole setup is here basically at Comic-Con every single year. So let's go take a look.
Out. We have a very, very exciting and surprising afternoon planned for you, so let's keep it moving.
And you know, her and Nyx kind of go through this journey together, just trying their best.
And it has all of these little ping pong balls on it to track her movement. And the puppet master, she brought it to life.
From a time of imperial oppression to an age of enlightenment, a golden age. That's right, please allow me to welcome on stage 3 of the story architects for the High Republic. Give a big San Diego welcome to Justina Ireland.
conflict isn't wrapped up. It's about 20 years before the Acolyte. And if you want to know how she goes from that wide-eyed youth who can take the galaxy by its pigtails on Jackie and her least favorite fellow Padawan, Yord, go with their masters to sort of clean up a mess left behind by one of their own on a distant planet.
We've been following Keith's story as she has risen in a really elevated way from Padawan to now Jedi Master or something beyond that. And she's facing a future that she doesn't know where that future lies and what part of the galaxy she's going to end up in.
Hello everybody, it is Chris reporting from San Diego Comic-Con 2024, my first one. Just got out of the big Star Wars panel on day one, Thursday, for Star Wars Lucasfilm Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away. Yes, you note that I didn't actually say publishing, because we have video games here too, everybody. We had a lot of stuff to break down, and I'm not doing this alone. I have the whole Star Wars Underworld crew. I got Ben, I got Chris, I got Dom. Look at them all. Here we go. And last time we did this was in London, and we were standing outside the Excel Center, and one of these guys was having ice cream. It was you or your friend, yeah, Rob, yeah. And now we have a Rice Krispie treat. Here we go.
This Rice Krispie treat that is, true story, so thick that I cannot open my mouth wide enough to take a full bite from it. I'm like nibbling away at it half by half. So that's the big takeaway from the Star Wars panel.
There we go. Well, let's start from the beginning. They turned down the lights and they actually had like all this Star Wars live action footage, and that kind of blew me away because it's like, wait a minute. First of all, this was in like a 4,000 capacity audience room here, ballroom 20. It's the second largest besides Hall H, and it was moderated by Patton Oswalt. I'm going to throw it over to you, Chris. What did you think about this moderator?
I love him. He's awesome, and I think we should have more of him.
Yeah, all respect to Michael Siglain. You know, he's really done a great job with shepherding in the comics and the books, but Patton Oswalt really brought it to another level, really making like some great humor, some funny moments. Anything to say about this one, Ben?
Oh yeah, I mean, Patton Oswalt, do all the panels from now on. Do all of them, because he was great. Like, he was legitimately, like you were saying earlier, like just taking the piss out of everything and just going off and like making fun of things that should be made fun of, to be honest.
Ben is wishing he was in London right now with a phrase like "taking the piss." That's that was very British. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites is like, cover art not final for an artwork book. What do you mean? You only have the title for the Acolyte. What is going on here? What is going on here? But you know, starting off, we had the big video game panel. We had Jay who's playing Andy. We have help me out with some of the names here. We have Humberly Gonzalez. We have D. Bradley Baker. Yeah, I got them all. We have Nix. We have ND5. We have Kay Vess in the house. It was cool because we haven't had a big video game panel in a while. Well, actually, I think there was one last year, but they had to strike. So from the non-gamer perspective, I'm throwing it over to you, Dominic. What'd you think about the panel here?
I thought it was great. I mean, Humberly Gonzalez, D. Bradley Baker, and the other fella are all terrifically entertaining people. So they were great on the panel. They all had really sort of warm memories of Star Wars that they were happy to share. So I thought that part was really fun. And then the way they talked about the game gave me the thought I have every time there is a Star Wars video game, which is, God, I wish this was a movie. I wish this was a show, because that's sort of my angle at Star Wars. And so I can tell that there's real interesting characters and really interesting storytelling going on. And it makes me, you know, maybe I'll finally pick up a controller and actually play this, because they've made it sound like it's, you can tell the love that was made, the love that went into making this game.
Yeah, this brings me back to like something like The Force Awakens or any other Star Wars production. We had this, you know, inanimate object that they brought onto the stage. Like, this is our version of what is the name of the creature? Oh no, I'm forgetting. Nix the creature. Was just everywhere when they were doing the behind-the-scenes stuff. So I really enjoyed how they had that extra care to detail. This felt more like a movie production by the way they were like saying shooting, doing this and that. So yeah, Chris, I know you love the Jedi games like myself. So what are you looking forward to from Outlaws? Are you interested in playing it?
Yeah, I'm very interested in playing it, and the fact that it's an open world game is a huge draw for me, because outside of Star Wars games, most of my favorite games are open world, like Genshin Impact and Minecraft are two of the games I've spent the most time playing outside of Star Wars games. So the idea of just being able to go around, do whatever you want, they suggested there might be some arcades and mini games that you can just stumble across. Like, I think that's a fantastic idea. This is long overdue. Like, I thought that they should have launched a game like this like 10 years ago. So I'm so excited that we're finally getting it. But now that we've waited, we're going to get the latest in the technology and the engines and everything. So I think it's just going to be really immersive and just a game with a cornucopia of stuff to kind of look into while you're playing.
Oh yeah, this is something I've been waiting for a while. Yeah, technically we've had the Old Republic, but for a console open world game, we've never got anything like this. Now, Ben, would you perhaps upgrade to a PS5 or an Xbox Series to be able to play this game one day?
Is this you offering to buy me one? Because I'll take it. I'll take it. No, the game looks amazing. Like, it truly looks spectacular. Humberto Gonzalez and D. Bradley Baker, they're so delightful, and the characters I think are really great. And that time period, they talk a lot about the time period, about the Empire Strikes Back going into Return of the Jedi, and this is things, and the fact that Kay is such a, she's so green in regards to the underworld. Someone who is a good point of view character, because I've never met Jabba the Hutt, and she goes on. No, not yet anyway.
I've met the one that's yay. Hi.
Yeah. But she goes in like she just doesn't get it. She doesn't get that Jabba the Hutt is someone you may need to respect and may kill you. She's very green in that figure. So I think that's a really interesting thing about this game.
And there's a commando droid in a trench coat. I mean, what more do you need?
Yeah, it definitely adds a little bit to the game when you have a character quite like that. I know some people are, oddly enough, maybe not oddly enough, people are swooning over a droid character these days because of his appearance, because of his look. So I liked how we got to see and hear from the voice actor. But yeah, all these people, they all had a good chemistry. They even talked to something about like a chemistry test for a video game. That was strange, wasn't it?
That was cool, yeah. I mean, it goes to show with anything that they do, they treat it like it's a movie. They treat it like it's going to be the next big Star Wars thing. I know we'll get onto the High Republic in a bit. When you look at what they did to create this publishing initiative, they basically just went at it like they were creating a movie or a show and did all the art, did all that planning, and then just wrote it down instead of going out and shooting it. And with this, they treated it like it's a movie. They said, these two characters are the core of this story. Let's make sure we have two actors that can play that really, really well. And so, yeah, of course you got to do a chemistry test. You got to make sure it works.
Oh yeah, and what's working, as we alluded to, is the High Republic. It's coming to an end pretty soon here, but maybe not really. They're going to prolong it, and we're getting new content to kind of bridge that 100-year gap between Phase 3, which is 100 years, to the Acolyte, which is 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So, first of all, Ben, what's your reaction to a Vernestra roast, or I think they said 20 years before Acolyte?
Yeah, I mean, that's a story I think needs to be told after the Acolyte. Like, being that it's such a shock to see that character the way she is in the Acolyte, and I'm not super caught up on the High Republic there, but I know she's a pretty positive, upbeat prodigy of a character. To see her fall so far, I think is really interesting. So to get that book, which I think is set 20 years before, so I feel like that's going to answer a lot of our questions about the Acolyte. Like, what the hell happened to Vernestra? Maybe we'll actually get some answers here.
Oh yeah, speaking of Vernestra, Chris, I know you're a big-time collector of Hasbro. We got to see our first High Republic book character in action figure form. I've been screaming for this for a while. I literally fist pumped when I see that thing come up. What was your reaction to that?
Yeah, that was very exciting, and in general, I like the connections between the Acolyte and the High Republic. And even though the Acolyte is a little bit after the High Republic era, I like how they're tying that in and kind of treating it like it's a late High Republic. And that's big for me because I haven't really gotten into any of the High Republic comics or books because there's not as many connections to the parts of Star Wars that I love, like the prequels and the films and the Clone Wars and things like that. But I absolutely loved the Acolyte, and I loved the connections into the prequels with like Darth Plagueis and stuff. So then now having the writers of the Acolyte make comic books and novels to tie that, or sorry, the writers of the High Republic, making those tie-in materials for the Acolyte, I think that's something that will then bridge myself and a lot of the audience from Disney Plus and the on-screen stuff over into the High Republic era, and I think that's going to be huge for the High Republic in general. Oh yeah, we got another young adult novel. We don't even have a name for it. Yard and Jackie.
And then Leslie Headland came on screen to acknowledge the High Republic, the work that the authors have done. What was your reaction to that, Dominic?
I mean, I thought she was going to announce season 2. I thought that was going to be the stinger at the end of the panel. But it's great to see, right? Like the first time I ever saw Leslie Headland at one of these events was a year ago when you and I were at the High Republic panel in Celebration London, and she came on at the end of that with many of the authors and just kind of took over for 20 minutes and did a monologue basically about how the High Republic and all the work that had gone into it had inspired the Acolyte and inspired what they were doing. And so she's somebody who I think really values that connective tissue, and that's why we got characters like Vernestra Rowe in the show, why there were references to things like a hyperspace disaster. That's why the show looks like it's a continuation of those comic books. And so I think she obviously values that, so she sees the importance in allowing those characters that she created to now grow off the screen, on the page, with the Geeki and Yord novel, and then everything that's going to go on with the Vernestra novel, which, based on the unfinished cover, seems to like it will involve Master Andara in some way. So that's pretty exciting as well. But yeah, it's a great way to tie it all together.
Oh, yeah. So overall, I really had a great experience at this panel. Hopefully this is the blueprint, going forward, to see, like, okay, bring a top talent moderator that's really big with Star Wars, really big with that kind of thing, to add a little bit more energy. Any final thoughts from anybody on any of this stuff here today? On the StarWars.com, they described it as the annual Lucasfilm panel, and I'm like, that's not been a thing. We've been coming to Comic-Con for a long time, and they'll have publishing panels, or they'll have Hasbro panels, or in 2015 they had the Force Awakens panel, 2018 they had the Clone Wars panel, but there's not been the like standard go-to, like, here is where all the big Star Wars news will be panel. And I hope that this is a sign going forward that they'll put it in Ballroom 20 every year, and they'll say, all right, what have we got that's coming up next? And in this case, it's the books and the game, so that's next. So let's shine a spotlight on that, and then hopefully, if this truly does become an annual thing, they'll also go, hey, we got these movies and these shows coming out as well. Maybe we could do a little, maybe not the full celebration blitz, but like a little teaser, a poster, a clip, a scene, something like that. Yeah, very, very good stuff. Chris?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I miss Star Wars being a big thing at Comic-Con. I remember when I first started going to Comic-Con about 10 years ago, there were massive big Star Wars panels for like the movies. The Force Awakens panel was incredible. So I miss that type of stuff. And I want that. The Force Awakens panel kind of ruined us because it was so good that nothing can ever top it. They can't top it. But I want them to even try. I want them to try. Please try to top that. Or put even half as good is good for me. Because that was awesome. And I miss that.
Yeah, this was a great panel. I think it was kind of like, obviously, the Acolytes in the rearview mirror, and there were some tie-ins with that, and Skeleton Crew was, I think, a little too far off for them to talk about. So this felt like this is a Star Wars panel. We're talking about the big things that are coming up that are current right now. So I hope they keep that energy next year or the year after when we have bigger TV shows, movies, animated series, whatever. Do it and just do a big panel. Talk about what their things. Bring the cast out. I think that was really delightful just to have the Star Wars Outlaws cast there, give them some spotlight, give the High Republic authors some spotlight. And just keep going and things. And I think not just the movies and TV shows. Obviously, those are going to get press anyway. It's nice to see the smaller stuff per se get some really great airtime.
Yeah, so we still got plenty of other occasions for Star Wars news this year. We got D23, maybe we'll get the Acolyte Season 2 news that we've all been waiting for. We also have New York Comic-Con coming up. But I want to say thanks to these guys. We have Dominic, Chris, and Ben. They are recording very soon after this quick video, so I'm going to let these guys get to their usual podcast, Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel. They go live every Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern. These guys are the OGs of the Star Wars podcast realm. Make sure you listen to them. And, so thank you all. Do you guys want to plug anything necessarily?
I think you did it. I think you
okay. It. There we go. So you guys can find them on YouTube, on Twitter, and everywhere else. But for me, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more on Star Wars and San Diego Comic-Con. It's going to do for me, Staraptor. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.
Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at StarRaptor.